Good afternoon. It is Thursday. Thursday, March 2nd, 2003. The time is 3:02 p.m. Want to call to order the the special meeting for the Norwalk Board of Fire Commissioners. First item on the agenda, we have a quorum, is Commissioner Destruge and Mayor Rilling. First item on the agenda, acceptance of the minutes of the special meeting on Thursday, January 19th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Are there any corrections, deletions, or omissions?
I have a minor correction on page 4, the bottom, emergency management.
Okay.
Last paragraph, it looks, the last line, residents should be residents, TS.
Okay. Any other corrections or deletions
I
or
have one.
omissions? Okay.
Page 5, under Local 830 report, it should read, congratulations to Peter Carozza on his retirement, and that's spelled Carozza. And he
Okay.
retired from the Uniformed Professional Firefighters of Connecticut, Crossout Connecticut firefighter. And then to add Lieutenant Peter Brown, who will be filling the position.
Okay.
So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other corrections, deletions, or omissions? Seeing none, all in favor of the minutes as corrected?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 3, there are no action items. Item number 4, Fire Chief's report. Chief Gatto.
Okay, so we have completed 7 months in this year. And the firefighting wages and salary and the overtime accounts are still doing pretty good. Even though we have, as of today, we have 13 vacancies. So I would suspect between now and the end of May, we'll see an uptick in the overtime account. The total for 7 months should be 58.3%. We are at 53.6%, so we are under our projected budget for this month right now. So we're still going through the budget process. As you know, our capital budget was cut in half by the CFO. And I'm still hoping that we can get the funding to do the Station 4 addition and renovation project. I believe that it's a very important project, and our goal is to balance out the resources for a more fair, equal distribution. So anyway, we're looking for support on that. Hopefully we will get it. Our sick time between January last year and this year is actually, we're a little bit under from last year, which is good news. We're down 14 shifts from last year as far as the month goes. So that's it. Any questions for that?
Commissioner.
Well done on the keeping the budget in line and also getting our sick time to be slightly under the prior year. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So we also, because of the vacancies and the expenditures in the overtime, there should be some also some savings in the regular wage account, I would imagine.
I'm hoping that, but the people that are in the academy right now are on the payroll.
Are being paid, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they're being paid, and we have to pay the overtime for that vacancy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, but they're at step 0, so it is a lower rate.
Yep. Okay. Next item, item 5, Assistant Fire Chief of Administration, Assistant Chief Conti.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon.
Just an update on the ongoing projects. We've got the Adachi, our mobile data terminal. Software is, or the hardware, I should say, has come in. The software is actually being built right now. Everything is moving forward. We're should be in the next few months. We really should get the process going. The installation to all the vehicles, all the apparatus will probably be the biggest part, but everything's moving forward quite well. For our alerting system, we're entering phase 2 of the installation. All of the equipment finally arrived, and they're going to start building that as soon as next week. And they're looking at May, around the May time to start testing the system. And hopefully within that, assuming everything's working well, probably, June or July, we'll have that system live. As far as the buildings, Station 3, the apparatus floor, happy to report I attended the meeting last night, gave the presentation, and they approved unanimously to fund the Station 3 floor renovation. So I will be meeting with 3rd Taxing District, and moving forward, that's a July 1st funding. So we can finally replace that floor. For Station 5, the roof replacement, the contract's finalized, and I met with the architect and the contractor 2 days ago. So they're ordering the materials, and we're looking for, weather permitting, we're looking for an April 1st start, and after that, it's probably a couple weeks to redo that whole roof. So everything looks good there. We had a good meeting. OSHA, we're over that 80% compliance. We've basically finished everything up until the final deadline, which is June 12th. So we have a couple more things left to do, and it's really training things in some HAZCOM program that I'm working with Craig Schmidt on, and we're in very, very good shape. I'm happy to report. I'll take any questions. Yeah.
In regards to the OSHA compliance, you're maintaining contact with Craig Schmidt, the risk manager. Good. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So he's up to date.
Yes, very much, as well as Gary Merweed. He's been a huge help, the consultant. Yeah, so we're constantly back and forth, but we're in very good shape right now.
Good. Commissioner DeStrouge?
No questions. Thank you for the report.
Thank you.
Next item is the Assistant Fire Chief of Operations, Assistant Chief McCabe.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Under operations updates, item A, the meetings with Norwalk Dispatch have continued in an effort to ensure that each of the city's fire districts is served by sufficient personnel and apparatus, and for call volume and response times. And as the chief touched upon, the Station 4 project, if it goes forward, would greatly aid in that effort. Item B, Norwalk's 6 newest fire recruits reported to the Connecticut Fire Academy on February 13th. They will graduate on May 24th. Bringing those 6 firefighters and 2 additional laterals on shift in May will reduce the fire department's vacancies from the current 13 to 5. Item C, also under OSHA compliance, the 75 firefighters who are in need of a new second set of turnout gear, as mandated by OSHA, have all been measured as of today. That order for that gear will be put in on the next day or two, and the gear is expected to be delivered by July. Item D, I would like to thank on record the fire departments of Stamford, New Canaan, Westport, Rowayton, and Fairfield for covering Norwalk's fire stations on Monday, February 13th, so that all Norwalk firefighters could attend the services for firefighter Craig Saris.
Yes, I echo those sentiments. Thank you.
Thank you. Under calls for January 2023, we had 732 incidents, averaging 24 per day. We had 12 fires, including 3 building fires. We had 45 rescues, 33 of them being motor vehicle accidents, and 3 being motor vehicle accidents versus pedestrians. We went on 452 emergency medical service calls. We had 38 hazardous conditions, 22 service calls, 117 fire alarms, 46 were classified as smoke scare good intent. So cumulative statistics for January 1st through the 31st, 2023, 732 incidents and 1,134 total responses. And comparing that to 2022, we are up 31 incidents and 11 responses from the previous year as we start to get into 2023. I can take any questions.
Commissioner DeStrouge?
No questions. Thank you for making sure that our department is working efficiently and has the capacity to, by bringing in the new personnel and cutting down on our vacancies, which makes us better and stronger and safer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's interesting to see the numbers between 2022 and 2023.
Yeah.
Kind of right on track almost. I don't know if 2021 or 2020 would show a significant increase over the past couple of years, but it would be interesting to see that at some point as well.
Yeah, I think we would certainly see an increase in over 2021 and 2020. I can put those numbers together and I can present those next month.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. Thank you. Next item is the Fire Marshal's report. Fire Marshal Sawyer.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Hope all is well. Turn this phone down. Sorry about that. Okay, for the month of January, we had 155 inspections completed, 77 notification letters sent out, 6 pub ed events. That includes some of the OSHA stuff that we did with the various city departments. Plan reviews, 20, 11 liquor license inspections, 7 fire investigations, and 3 code issues or hazards. Plan review fees of $1,500, liquor license fees $715 for a total of $2,215. Mayor Rilling mentioned candle fires. We had a confirmation in December. It was a Lexington Avenue fire, but I couldn't say it was confirmed until the investigation was complete. We did have 1 candle fire, and that was it on Lexington. And also, we're going to be down a full-time inspector because of he's out with for surgery.
Yeah.
So just wanted to let you guys know that as well. The part-time inspectors are going to come off of only residential, and they'll be assisting in pretty much everything else where they can fit in. And that's it. Any questions?
Commissioner DeStrouge.
No questions. I hope everything goes well with the planned surgery.
Yes, and one of the most important things that we're always concerned about is the number of inspections that we're required to do. So it's good we're trying to keep up to speed on that. And we're still using some part-time people, I imagine.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Although, I mean, looking at from the previous year, we're up in inspections and down in notifications. So I
Yep.
mean, that's a good sign. So
Yep.
we'll keep doing our best.
Good. Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
all we can ask you to do with,
Mhm.
I know sometimes you have limited manpower and staffing or person power, and it's important to keep up as much as we can. So I appreciate that.
Well, the guys, I mean, I've got to give them lots of credit because they're really working hard to get it done and taking up slack. So much appreciated. And I'll pass that on to them as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Next.
just
Yeah, go
sticking
ahead,
to this
Chief.
for 1 second. The Fire Marshal's office was also tasked by OSHA to provide portable fire extinguisher training
Mhm.
for other departments in the city. And there's a quick note here that 40 health department employees, 70 public works employees, 150 police officers,
Mhm.
including the police chief, were all trained by Deputy Fire Marshal McDonald on the use of fire extinguishers. So unfortunately, that took time away from the other duties, but it was required to do. So all that has now been finished.
Gotcha. I see that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Well done. I remember we took part in the demonstration of the fire extinguishers. That was a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we have emergency management. I don't see Ms. DeLuca here. Is she?
She was here today, but she started to not feel well. She left a little bit earlier, so I'll just give you a quick summary of what she was going to talk about. So in February 7th, she put together an active shooter recovery tabletop exercise up in Stratford. It was very well attended. Over 200 people were there. All 14 towns in our region were there, as well as other different partners from the state. We, meaning the Norwalk Fire Department, was planning on going, but that was the morning that Craig Saris passed away, and we ended up just coming into work and not going to that exercise.
Mhm.
So just quickly, the exercise is about recovery. It was not, there was no intent on focusing on your immediate tactical responses for these types of events. So the objectives were, there were 3 objectives: using unified command to manage a mass fatality incident from response to recovery, discuss the establishment of a reunification center and family assistance center, and the variety of support services required, review the roles and responsibilities of municipalities and partner agencies in responding to the aftermath of a mass fatality event, and how to work together to meet the needs of the community. So there was a PowerPoint presentation that she put on, and then you broke into your different towns or agencies, and you had discussion points that that they were to discuss. It was a 8:30 to 12 o'clock event. And then last Monday, February 27th, Michelle had a follow-up for just people in Norwalk. And that was attended by PD was there, the health department was there, Norwalk Public Schools was there, and the fire department was there. So that basically was just continue the discussion from the tabletop, and then they wanted to develop a document to help walk through an opening of a family assistance center if it's ever needed. The last thing was the IT department for the city of Norwalk, or norwalkct.org emails. IT added on their help desk an employee SharePoint site where there's a section for employee safety, and she uploaded the building safety guide to that site, and it's going to be continually updated with information as needed. And I'm sure next month you'll get a full breakdown of these exercises that she did. So that's it for her report.
Commissioner
Thank you.
DeStrouge.
Thank you. No questions.
Okay, Training Division report.
Good afternoon, Mayor. Good afternoon, Commissioner.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm just seeing an item on here that I need to change, but okay, so under current activities, of course, the wellness coordinator ongoing weekly and daily injury prevention program, and that's at all stations. Members that'd like to participate, as well as the annual assessments. Ongoing for the most part right now for the past month, and probably well into March would be the EMT and EMS renewal for the year. Next item is recruit firefighter training that Assistant Chief McCabe mentioned. And the 4th item that's current is the SAFER grant process. I'm working with the grants coordinator, Rita, to apply for a SAFER grant to try and add personnel and divert that cost, to a grant program outside of the city, maybe to increase personnel or staffing on the rescue. And this is where I believe needs to be an update, and I'll submit that for to be corrected before the minutes get completed. But item B, and it really should be as completed activities, and the items following should be numbered as an outline format. But completed activities is the rapid intervention team, high point removal. I'll divert you to the pictures now. If you see, starting with picture 1, and this is the high point removal RIT training. The first picture is members inside the training area. And basically RIT stands for Rapid Intervention Team. And that's a company that we have at every fire or high risk environment that we have on standby in case one of our own personnel go missing or issue a mayday or go down. So in this case scenario, the first picture is members inside preparing a down firefighter, an unconscious firefighter, to be removed from a high point, like a second or third floor window, underneath a ladder using a 4-to-1 hoist system. So first picture is members inside preparing that victim, securing the victim to with a harness to a 4-to-1 carabiner hoist system. And then the second picture is the firefighter being removed or just lifted out of the window and basically the load being taken up by the overhead or the high point attachment on the ladder. And then the third picture is the firefighter, in this case, the mannequin being lowered to the ground by the hoist crew outside on the ground level. So in this case scenario, it would typically take 8 to 12 firefighters in a normal scenario to remove just one down firefighter. Our members and Deputy Chief Markowitz came up with a system using this 4-to-1 hoist system that's carried on 3 of our trucks, the rescue and the 2 ladder trucks. Basically, at least 1 to 2 of those would be on scene at every fire, potentially 3. And that kind of reduces the labor intensive part of lifting and hoisting. And we can kind of get that rescue down to about 8 personnel. Normally it would take about 45 minutes to remove a down firefighter. If you didn't hear, unfortunately, a firefighter was killed at a fire yesterday in Buffalo, New York. And hearing that radio traffic, and I'm sure a whole report will come out and identify some of the breakdowns that occurred, but having reviewed the one in Baltimore and listening to others in Boston, it seems that a lot of times the incident commander is task loaded with just too much work to do. In this case, it sounded like he may have missed the Mayday. Fortunately, other personnel on the scene, responding personnel, as well as a dispatcher, heard that transmission. And I mention this because an initiative started by our current administration, as well as Deputy Chief Markowitz a couple of years ago, was to really improve upon, practicing our weekly Mayday with the deputy chiefs and incorporating other personnel on the shift each week that we practice this, as well as RIT training 2 to 3 times a year. So I see other departments break down in areas that I think that we're more proficient in, and God forbid we should end up in this scenario or case. I think there's some areas that I'm sure there's always stuff that could be improved upon and learned from, but there's areas that I know that we're more proficient in that you'd expect from larger departments that I feel like it's overlooked too often. And, in our case, I think we're proactive in practicing these items on a weekly basis. And in this case, this RIT training we're doing, 2 to 3 times a year, and members are proficient and they kind of just muscle memory and see how to, they know how to set it up, and you're not relying upon some of the stronger personnel that we tend to have on shifts. It's really, everyone's got the same training and everyone knows how the scenario is to make this removal. It's very important. And again, we don't want to, God forbid we're in this situation, we'd hate to let our members down by not, putting forth our best effort and to get them out as quickly as possible. And, some items are beyond our control, but this is certainly one that we are proficient in, and I think that we continue to improve upon. So I do think that we're moving in the right direction. I see that we're in a good, I see that we're better prepared than I would think other departments would be. And I give credit to the previous training director, Adam Markowitz, Deputy Chief Markowitz, and as well as our current administration. The assistant chiefs and the chief of the department have made that a strong initiative. So moving forward, again, these are items that should be numbered. Cold water rescue retrieval. We've, this time of year, we often practice our cold water rescue. A unique year, as you know, we've had a few cold snaps, but for the most part, this winter was relatively mild. So we didn't really have the ice to train on, but we did take out our equipment. The water is still cold, and we still may have those. In fact, that oftentimes it leads to someone going out on the water in a kayak or something like that, and not realizing that how cold the water is. So regardless of ice or not ice, we're still there for practicing this cold water rescue. We did actually host an ice rescue class by the state, and we're successful in applying to host 5 to 6 classes here, and that was the first one to kick off for the year. So the State Fire Academy uses our training center, and it gives our members an opportunity to train in-house and get state certification and get the training from the State Fire Academy right here in Norwalk. Next item, the NIOSH research guide. That's annual hazmat training is required annually, and this is just to touch on it and stay fresh in our research. And that's really a reference material that we use oftentimes during hazmat incidents and to determine characteristics of spills, leaks, and gases and such. In the agenda, item F and G, again, should be numbered. I will change that. That was a fire inspector promotional exam with the anticipation of a possible vacancy inside the fire marshal's division, and as well as the deputy chief promotional exam on the 2-year schedule. We were due to the 2-year mark had come and gone, expired a list, and we're within 90 days as required by the union contract to have another list established. So we did establish a new deputy chief's list. I think that'll be presented to be signed under new business here. And then upcoming scheduled training, that's item H, and under that PES, that's personal escape system training. That's another initiative that current administration had put forth, and that's the equipment that we carry in our pockets, a really last resort bailout of a window. In a case where we don't have any high point or any kind of belay line, it's really hooking the windowsill and utilizing the system to lower us to the ground. Again, a last resort, but we want everyone to be confident in that gear and not be afraid to use it if they need to. OUPV, that's operator of unrestricted passenger vessel. Coast Guard license, the minimum captain's license for the Coast Guard. That's a standard set up by the region as a minimum licensing for our maritime personnel, and we're going to host one of the classes here in Norwalk. That'll take place in April. Item 3, standpipe operations. That'll tie into the sprinkler training that we did last month, and that's for anything really long distances or just about 4 floors or above that we would use a standpipe system to tie in to do a fire attack. That's really when there's just too much distance from our apparatus or engines to really stretch hose line right from the engine itself. General marine navigation, that'll begin as soon as our EMS class has been completed, and then engine and ladder company operations, pump driver training, driver tiller training. That's been ongoing for a while, but as we've been adding personnel, it's really an ongoing thing until we're kind of caught up in staffing. When these new guys graduate from the academy, they'll be the next group to really have to go through all that engine and ladder company training. So that completes the training division report. And again, I will submit those adjustments so that the outline format is corrected. I'd be happy to answer.
To follow up on that, the fire inspector and the deputy chief lists that came out, the mayor did sign it, and I will get that to Commissioner DeStrouge on the 14th, and he can sign it as well.
Okay.
Sounds like you have a lot going on in the training division. Thank you. Commissioner DeStrouge?
Thank you for an excellent report. Appreciate the in-depth knowledge of high point removal and the complexities. Excellent report. Makes our department and staff stronger and safer. Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought maybe Commissioner DeStrouge would like to, probably a little bit easier to have a human being come out that window, rather than a mannequin.
I'm game.
So-
I'm game. Yeah,
I know you are.
I'll do it.
Anytime you want,
All right.
we'll throw you right out.
I'll watch. Correspondence, Chief?
All right, so just a quick note that was attached to the report. We had a fire last month on 55 North Water Street, apartment fire, and one of the tactical operations that we do is called salvage operations, where we try to go in and we cover certain your furniture or remove any items that are high valued, if we can get them out of the apartment, et cetera. In this particular fire, we were able to cover up a piano with a salvage cover, and the owner of that apartment was very grateful because it was a 150-year-old, one of a kind, hand-built by a French composer, and it could not have been replaced.
Mm,
And putting that little salvage cover on saved that from being actually probably ruined by water damage.
Wow,
So
good move. Very well done.
they do good, our guys. They do good.
I'm sure they do. Next, there's personnel. We have an executive session scheduled, so I need a motion to go in executive session.
so moved.
Uh, All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, aye, and the time is 3:33. Chief, do we have another link or something for that?
We do. You should have that.
Okay, so we have to leave this one, go into executive session and come back later on to this one.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Afternoon, everyone.
Thank you. Tom, thanks.
Hey, bye.